All right, our next section is very similar to the last one, but now we're going to look at equations that have variables on both sides. So getting a little bit more tricky. Just like before, the first thing we want to do is get rid of any numbers that are being added or subtracted. That's the first thing we want to get out of the way. And like in the last section, we also want to combine any like terms. The only thing that's different here is if we have variables on both sides of the equal sign, we have to add them or subtract them to put them on the same side. We have to get them together before we can solve the equation. So let's look at some examples. Number 1, you can see that we have x's on both sides. On the right, we have also plus 5. So let's leave that alone and get rid of that 3x. Move it to the other side with the 4x. Since the 3x is positive, I'm going to do the opposite and subtract 3x from both sides. On the right, it's going to cancel, leaving me just with equals 5. On the left, 4x minus 3x is just 1x, and so I have my answer. That one's pretty simple. All right, here we have lots of a's. On the right, we have to put these a's together, combine like terms. We're going to get 4a equals 2a plus 1a is 3a. But now we have to put the a's on the same side of the equal sign. So I'll subtract 3a from both sides. On the right, 3a minus 3a goes away, leaving me with 0. On the left, 4a minus 3a is just 1a. And again, I have my answer, a equals 0. In number 3, we have 3s equals s minus 2. Go ahead and fill in that minus sign. And again, I have to move the s's together. I'm going to leave minus 2 where it is, and I'm going to get rid of the positive s by doing minus s on both sides. On the right, the s's will cancel, leaving me just with equals minus 2. And on the left, 3s minus 1s is 2s. I'm still not quite done because I have to get s by itself. So I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. The 2's will cancel on the left, giving me s equals negative 1. All right, number 4. Every single time you see a number in front of parentheses, you should be thinking to distribute. So that's our first step. Multiply that 3 inside the parentheses. You get 3w plus 3 equals 2w. Now we have w on both sides of the equal sign, so we have to get them together. I'm going to leave plus 3 where it is. So to get rid of the positive 3w that's with that, I'm going to subtract 3w on both sides. On the left, it's going to go away, leaving me with positive 3 equals, on the right, 2w minus 3w is negative w. But I'm not quite done yet. I want an answer for just w, not negative w. But remember, there's an invisible 1 hanging out in front of that w. So, just like before, it's negative 1 times w. I can divide by negative 1. To do the opposite of that, the negatives will cancel, and I get negative 3 equals regular w, which is what I want my answer to. All right, number 5. 3n plus 4 equals 3n plus 5. we have a couple things we have to do here. We have to put the numbers together and the letters together. So let's start by subtracting 4 on both sides. Move those numbers together. Cross off the 4s because they cancel out. I'm left with 3n equals 3n plus 1. Then I have to move the n's to the same side, so I'll leave the plus 1 alone. To get rid of positive 3n, I'm going to subtract 3n on both sides. On the right, they'll cancel out, leaving me with equals 1. But on the left, 3n minus 3n is 0. But now we have a problem. All of our variables canceled out, and we got something that doesn't make sense. 0 does not equal 1. When you get an answer like this that doesn't make sense, your answer becomes no solution. There's actually no numbers that you could plug into this equation that would make it true. So there's no solution here. All right. In number 6, let's throw some negative signs in here. We have a number in front of parentheses, so we're going to distribute. Multiplying that 5 inside, we get 5x minus 10 equals 5x minus 10. Well, duh. Notice that we have the same exact thing on both sides of the equal sign. That's like saying 5 equals 5 or 10 equals 10. Of course that's true. No matter what number we plug in for x, we're going to get the same answer on both sides. So that's always going to be true. When you get something that has the same thing on both sides of the equal sign, like these example answers or the equation that we have, your actual answer becomes infinitely many solutions. Or another way to write that same answer is to write all real numbers. Because no matter what number you pick to plug in for x, it's going to work. So you can use everything. All right, in 7, 4 plus y divided by 5 equals y. Well, we have 4 plus y divided by 5. The last thing I said is divided by 5, so I'm going to start by multiplying by 5 on both sides. On the left, they cancel, leaving me with 4 plus y. On the right, y times 5 is just 5y. Now I have to put the y's together. I'll leave the 4 where it is. I'll get rid of plus y by doing minus y on both sides. On the left, the y's will cancel, and I get 4 equals 5y minus y is 4y. Then last step, to get that y by itself, divide by 4 on both sides. That should be easy now. Crossing out the 4's, you get 1 equals y. Number 8, we'll put a negative sign in here. And same thing, 9 minus 2y divided by 7. So start by multiplying by 7 on both sides. Cancels out on the left, leaving you 9 minus 2y equals 7y. Now put the y's together. We can leave the regular 9 by itself. Let's move the 2y to the other side. Since it's negative, we're going to add 2y. On the left, it will cancel, leaving us with 9 equals 7y plus 2y is 9y. Last step to get the y by itself, divide by 9 on both sides. You get y equals 1. All right, number 9. 1/2 x plus 5 equals x. Okay, we have to put the x's together on the same side. Let's leave the plus 5 alone. We'll get rid of 1/2 x by doing minus 1/2 x on both sides. On the left, they'll cancel, leaving us with 5 equals. On the right, 1 whole x minus 1/2 x, well, it's just 1/2 x. Then to get the x by itself, we're going to divide by 1/2 since they're being multiplied. But remember, dividing by 1/2 is the same thing as multiplying by 2/1. So we can do that on the other side. Gives us x equals 10 as our final answer. That's it for this section. Moving variables to get the variables on one side and the numbers on the other, and then solving it using the same steps that you already learned. This video matches the 2.4 worksheet in your practice packet, so go ahead and work on that, and then work on the assignment that you're going to submit for grading that matches variables on both sides.